The problem today is PR programs at companies live in a silo. They're not connected to existing systems. So just start with like set the table for the basic problem today.
Okay, so if you look at today, there's a couple different silos that we see. One is the silo of nothing. You're not doing any data collection. Okay, so there's just no visibility into what the learner is doing. That's one. Then we have some folks who are building their own, right? And they're building sometimes their own for themselves, and sometimes they're building their own for others. And we see that. And they're like, this is the VR LMS, right? And so now, on one hand, you think, oh, this is cool. Now I have a place where I can actually enter in my learners and assign them different content, and then they would walk through their different pieces of content. Okay, that sounds nice, and that's actually pretty helpful in a pilot initially, right? The problem is when you get out of pilot mode. If I'm doing a pilot and I got 10 20 learners, whatever, as I continue the program and all of a sudden I say, okay, now we're done with pilot, we want to roll this out in the long run. Now I'm all of a sudden faced with the effort of duplicating all these learner records and everything, and taking them from our existing systems and putting them into this VR LMS when it's already in the company's existing LMS. And then as people come and go, you're trying to do maintenance in both places, and you forget to update over here that this person left. And it's, you know, all of a sudden you're creating this duplicate effort, which people hate, which is why we've all moved to like single sign-on solutions and things like that, right? And it doesn't have that. It doesn't know the learner. Now your learning and development teams who are assigning content to people, they have to log into a whole different admin portal that they don't understand, and you're going to get friction from the L&D team trying to do this when you could have just integrated with the existing system. And then it's just a simple assignment of additional content, right? So this like running in a silo, people think they're helping by building the special purpose LMS when they're really just elongating the problem.
And then not to mention, maybe add if they build their own mini LMS, which requires users to log in and launch within that portal, that's a complication. Ideally, it would all flow and launch through the LMS, right?
Yeah, because now you have to train all your users through this existing process that then when you finally get to actually using it properly in the regular LMS, you have to train them on a whole new process. So yeah, you're creating all this extra effort and creating a workflow that does not work long term.
Okay, let's talk back, like let's rewind.
Yeah.
Like I said, this isn't the first turn at this wheel. So go back to like early 2000s, early e-learning. E-learning was in a silo. Talk about just briefly like how that progressed until now e-learning is fully baked in overall. Talk about that evolution a little bit.
Yeah, so if you go in the Wayback Machine in the late 90s, early 2000s, when we started having e-learning content. Let's just say you publish a book with the quiz, right? You want to have this like set up so that students can read, both the teacher can navigate the students through, and then you provide the quiz at the end. For initially when this started happening, people were like building like their own little websites where you would go to and you would take the quiz and get the result, and then you would I think that people would print it out and give the printout to their teachers, who would then turn around and enter this into the LMS that they had, right? Because they had some, the LMSs weren't as advanced as they are now, but whatever, they had LMSs back then. So this was becoming a hassle because you were duplicating all this effort all the time. And, with the teacher having to re-enter things in, they got printed out from the students, it was kind of a mess. And then there ended up being like several different portals, because people who were writing textbooks weren't web developers. So then there was like some portals that would help these publishers and these writers or whatever, the curriculum development folks. It would help them go build this out, right? It became so fractured. And so that's when there was a standards body that came out, and they helped define SCORM. SCORM stands for Shareable Content Object Reference Model. That doesn't really explain much. I'm sure that's not that meaningful to anybody. But what it is basically a standardized data structure for recording assessments. Very quickly, SCORM got adopted across all the LMSs because everybody was feeling the pain of this problem. And now it became possible for anybody who's building curriculum, there's like tools for helping them create these SCORM packages, and they would publish their book. They would publish the SCORM package that goes with it, and it would work everywhere, right? And it just became a very open use. So now there's like massive, there's big old libraries of these SCORM packages that go with every textbook and all these different things, right? And the whole industry started to grow and benefit from this. Later on, LTI came in to like modernize a few things with SCORM. SCORM's kind of old. LTI is kind of a little bit more modern, and it added some different functionality. Then that's where like video content, like you had video content now, you wanted to play that. instead of hosting these files, these video files on random sites, like putting it on Google Drive or Dropbox, or, you had all the, you're linking to these different things. You have to set permissions properly. And you had no idea if anybody actually watched the video. All they would have to do is click on the link, and that's all you could tell was they clicked on the link. And I think Wake Forest University was one of the first ones to build a tool that actually had the player embedded in there. And so when you go in as a student and you have to watch this video, usually it was a lecture or whatever, you actually had to watch it because it would track how long you were watching that thing. But really, Scorum and LTI really help standardize different modalities of learning content back into the LMS so that you would have that single source of truth. The LMS and the LRS would be your single source of truth, regardless of content from different publishers. And it really enabled that whole industry to grow dramatically.
Do you feel like our training is facing that same fork in the road?
Absolutely. Yeah. If we're going to keep splintering and we're going to repeat the problems that helped early e-learning, that helped the video training content, want to replicate those mistakes, we can, but we're hoping for a better way, and hopefully to encourage everybody to kind of end that now, right? And let's operate in the existing ecosystem. Let's sit side by side. So I may have 5 pieces of training I need to get through this week, some web-based, some video. I got this VR one, cool. And I should just be able to click on assignment, put on the headset, and just be launched right into the content very quickly, right? With low friction. Whether I'm entering a PIN or scanning a QR code or whatever, I should just be able to get going very quickly and not learn this UI within the VR headset to choose the content and log in and make it all complicated. The easier it is for me to put on a headset and go, the more I think that helps us all scale up.
Yeah, the goal should be VR should integrate seamlessly into your existing learning programs, and users shouldn't have to learn a new system. It should all be easy and seamless, because VR is not going to replace traditional learning. It's going to augment it. It's going to augment it. It's going to live alongside an existing training program that incorporates stuff you're doing on the iPad, videos you're watching, actual physical site visits, and hands-on with actual equipment. It's going to augment that.
We built ArborXR Insights to solve these very problems. The challenge of figuring out who the user is, getting them right into the content they need to get into, tracking the data, getting the data where it needs to go, right? Be it LMS or business intelligence tools, as well as providing the ability to analyze and visualize the data within our own dashboards, right? So we also want to help identify what matters in that data, because this is another area because people don't even know yet what matters. And so we want to be helping folks uncover what matters, uncover the things that they didn't know were going wrong, the challenges that learners were having that they hadn't reported personally. We want to help spot these things in real time. And we believe that if we do that, it will help content developers create better content. Learners will get more out of it. Will prove return on investment over time. That's really was the heart of what we've been trying to focus on.